Have you ever felt like life doesn't make sense? No matter how hard you try to figure it out, like you're caught in this endless cycle of striving, failing, laughing, and starting all over again? What if I told you that maybe, just maybe, that's exactly how life is supposed to be? That the contradictions, the absurdity, the chaos we face every day are not just accidents but essential parts of the human experience? Welcome to today's journey into the mind of Erasmus, the Renaissance thinker who dared to laugh at the absurdity of existence and, in doing so, showed us how to live better, freer, and more authentically. In this video, we're diving deep into Erasmus's In Praise of Folly, a masterpiece that celebrates the very flaws and contradictions that make us human. We'll explore why embracing absurdity isn't a sign of weakness but a path to freedom and fulfillment. And we'll connect these centuries-old insights to our modern lives, from social media pressures to the relentless pursuit of success, and how we can find humor, humility, and joy amidst the madness. Before we get started, don't forget to support this channel by hitting that like button, sharing this video with someone who could use a laugh about life's craziness, and subscribing for more thought-provoking content like this. If you love what we're doing and want to help us keep creating, consider donating through YouTube Super Thanks. It means the world to us and helps keep this channel alive. Let's dive in. Erasmus of Rotterdam, often called the Prince of the Humanists, stands out as a thinker who not only embraced the absurdity of existence, but also wielded it as a tool to unravel the contradictions of human life. Living in the Renaissance, an era marked by intellectual upheaval and rediscovery of classical ideals, Erasmus carved a unique niche for himself. He straddled two worlds, the rigid, dogmatic medieval structure and the burgeoning humanist philosophy that celebrated reason, individual potential, and the richness of human experience. His work reveals a deep understanding of humanity's inherent contradictions, making his ideas as relevant today as they were in the 16th century. Erasmus's most famous work, In Praise of Folly, epitomizes his ability to address profound truths through humor and satire. Written as a playful critique of his society, it remains a timeless exploration of human folly. The central conceit of the work is the personification of Folly herself, who delivers a monologue praising her pervasive influence on human affairs. By giving Folly a voice, Erasmus illuminates the contradictions that define human nature: our relentless pursuit of wealth, power, and prestige, even when these pursuits often lead to misery and discontent. Take, for example, his critique of scholars and theologians. Erasmus describes them as individuals so obsessed with intellectual rigor and abstract theorizing that they lose sight of the world around them. This satire feels strikingly modern when we think about how some contemporary academics or professionals become consumed by their work, disconnected from the realities and joys of daily life. His insights into human behavior extend beyond academia. Erasmus lambasts rulers who wage war under the guise of honor and virtue, only to bring destruction and suffering to their people. This critique resonates in today's world, where political leaders often justify conflicts with lofty rhetoric while ignoring the human cost. Through In Praise of Folly, Erasmus invites us to question the motivations behind our actions and recognize the absurdity of justifying harm in the name of progress or power. His message is clear. Folly is not an aberration but an intrinsic part of human life, shaping our choices and driving our contradictions. The absurdity of human nature, as Erasmus portrays it, is also deeply tied to the search for meaning and purpose. He recognized that people often chase external validation through wealth, status, or religious piety, believing it will bring fulfillment. Yet, Erasmus argued, these pursuits are ultimately futile. For instance, his critique of the clergy focuses on their obsession with ritualistic displays of faith, often at the expense of genuine spiritual connection. This mirrors modern society's fixation on outward appearances, from the curated perfection of social media profiles to the relentless pursuit of career success. Just as Erasmus pointed out the emptiness of religious formalism, we can see the hollow nature of many contemporary pursuits, where the focus on image overshadows authenticity. Erasmus's reflections on the paradox of choice further highlight his relevance. While he did not explicitly discuss the concept as it is understood today, his insights align with modern psychological findings about decision-making and freedom. He understood that having too many options often leads to anxiety and dissatisfaction. This is evident in his discussions about wealth and power, where the pursuit of more often leaves people feeling less satisfied. Consider the modern consumer faced with endless product choices, from streaming services to breakfast cereals. The abundance of options, rather than empowering us, often leads to paralysis and regret, a phenomenon Erasmus would likely see as another example of human folly. He challenges us to find liberation not in the expansion of choices, but in the acceptance of limitations and the pursuit of simpler, more meaningful paths. Underlying Erasmus's critique of folly and his exploration of life's contradictions is a profound philosophical insight. Life is inherently absurd, and our attempts to impose order or meaning often amplify this absurdity. Yet, Erasmus does not advocate despair. Instead, he suggests that embracing the absurdity of existence can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. This perspective aligns with existentialist thinkers like Albert Camus, who later argued that acknowledging life's lack of inherent meaning allows us to create our own. Erasmus's approach, however, is infused with humor and humility. By laughing at our follies, we can confront life's absurdity without being overwhelmed by it. The legacy of Erasmus lies not only in his intellectual contributions, but also in his humanistic approach to life. He believed in the power of education and dialogue to bridge divides and foster understanding. This belief is evident in his critique of dogmatism and intolerance, which he saw as barriers to progress. For Erasmus, the recognition of folly was not a condemnation of humanity, but a call to humility. By acknowledging our flaws, we can approach life with greater compassion and curiosity. This message is particularly relevant in today's polarized world, where the tendency to view others through rigid ideological lenses often prevents meaningful connection. Erasmus's ability to find joy in the absurdity of existence offers a valuable lesson for modern life. In a world characterized by rapid change and constant uncertainty, his philosophy encourages us to embrace imperfection and find humor in our contradictions. Take, for example, the modern phenomenon of hustle culture, where individuals are encouraged to constantly strive for success and productivity. While this mindset can lead to achievement, it often comes at the cost of well-being and genuine fulfillment. Erasmus's critique of similar tendencies in his time reminds us that true happiness lies not in relentless striving, but in finding contentment within ourselves. Ultimately, Erasmus challenges us to see folly not as a weakness, but as an integral part of the human experience. His work invites us to confront life's absurdity with a sense of humor and a willingness to question our assumptions. By doing so, we can navigate the contradictions of existence with greater clarity and resilience. Whether we are grappling with personal dilemmas, societal pressures, or existential questions, Erasmus's insights offer a timeless reminder that the key to understanding life lies not in denying its absurdity, but in embracing it fully. In this way, Erasmus remains a beacon of wisdom, guiding us through the complexities of existence with wit, humility, and an unwavering belief in the potential of the human spirit. Erasmus's In Praise of Folly serves as a profound yet playful exploration of human nature, using satire to reveal the contradictions embedded within society and individuals alike. Through the voice of Folly herself, Erasmus critiques the pursuit of wealth, power, and intellectual prestige, all while exposing the hypocrisy and arrogance of those who claim moral or intellectual superiority. These critiques, while deeply rooted in the societal structures of his time, remain strikingly relevant as modern culture continues to grapple with the same underlying flaws. One of Erasmus's sharpest observations lies in his critique of rulers, whose pursuit of prestige and power often comes at the expense of their subjects. He mocks the way rulers justify their greed and warfare under the guise of noble virtues, pointing out the absurdity of causing widespread suffering for the sake of personal ambition. In today's context, this critique resonates powerfully when considering political and corporate leaders who frame their actions as being for the greater good. while often prioritizing personal gain. Take, for instance, the rhetoric around international conflicts or economic policies that disproportionately benefit the elite. Such justifications mirror the very behaviors Erasmus sought to lampoon, reminding us of how little has changed in the dynamics of power. Erasmus also turns his satirical lens towards scholars and intellectuals, whom he accuses of being so consumed by their own pursuits that they lose sight of practical wisdom and moral integrity. He depicts them as individuals preoccupied with abstract theorizing and the accumulation of accolades, often to the detriment of meaningful contributions to society. This observation holds up in modern academia, where the intense pressure to publish and gain recognition frequently overshadows the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. Consider the phenomenon of academic gatekeeping, where groundbreaking ideas may be stifled because they don't align with established norms or trends. Erasmus's critique urges us to question whether intellectual ambition, when divorced from ethical responsibility, ultimately serves humanity or simply perpetuates cycles of ego and self-interest. The timeless nature of Erasmus's critique becomes even clearer when applied to contemporary societal behaviors, particularly the obsession with status and validation in the digital age. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter provide individuals with tools to curate their lives for public consumption, turning personal experiences into commodities for external approval. This is not far removed from Erasmus's depiction of individuals who seek to appear virtuous or accomplished in the eyes of others, even when their actions lack substance. The modern phenomenon of influencers, for example, often revolves around projecting an image of success and happiness that may bear little resemblance to reality. Erasmus's insights remind us that this chase for validation, whether through titles, likes, or followers, often leaves people feeling more insecure and disconnected. At the heart of Erasmus's exploration of folly is a deeper philosophical insight. Folly is not an anomaly but a fundamental part of the human condition. It is through folly, Erasmus suggests, that we confront our desires, fears, and limitations, revealing truths that might otherwise remain hidden. For example, the pursuit of material wealth, while often criticized as shallow, stems from a genuine desire for security and stability. Similarly, the quest for power or recognition may reflect an underlying need for purpose or belonging. By framing folly as an intrinsic aspect of life, Erasmus challenges us to view it not as something to be eradicated, but as something to be understood and even embraced. This perspective extends to the societal structures that perpetuate folly, such as the emphasis on consumerism and material success. In many ways, modern culture mirrors the absurdities Erasmus critiqued in his own time, with individuals and institutions prioritizing appearances over substance. The relentless cycle of buying and discarding, driven by the illusion that happiness lies in the next purchase, echoes the same patterns of empty pursuit Erasmus exposed. Yet, his approach to these critiques is not rooted in cynicism but in an almost playful acknowledgement of human nature's contradictions. By exposing these patterns, Erasmus encourages us to question whether the systems we participate in truly serve our well-being or merely perpetuate cycles of dissatisfaction. Erasmus's critique of folly also reveals the paradoxical nature of freedom and choice. While he did not explicitly discuss the concept as it is understood today, his observations align with modern psychological insights into decision-making. The more choices we have, the greater the potential for dissatisfaction, as we become paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong decision. Erasmus hints at this paradox through his critique of those who endlessly pursue more, whether it be wealth, knowledge, or power, only to find themselves trapped by their desires. This dynamic is particularly evident in the modern era, where an abundance of options often leads to anxiety rather than liberation. From streaming services to career paths, the constant pressure to choose wisely can be overwhelming, reinforcing Erasmus's insight that limitations and simplicity might hold the key to a more fulfilling life. What ties Erasmus's critiques together is his ability to reveal the absurdity of human behaviors without condemning them outright. His humor and wit serve as tools for understanding, inviting readers to reflect on their own contradictions without falling into despair. This approach resonates deeply in a world where uncertainty and complexity often lead to polarized thinking or existential dread. Erasmus's satire reminds us that life's absurdities are not problems to be solved, but realities to be embraced. By acknowledging our own follies, we can navigate the complexities of existence with greater clarity and compassion, finding meaning not in the elimination of contradictions, but in the way we engage with them. His work serves as both a mirror and a guide, reflecting the timeless truths of human nature while offering a path toward greater self-awareness and understanding. Erasmus's exploration of the search for meaning and purpose reveals his profound understanding of life's paradoxes. He believed that while humans relentlessly pursue fulfillment through external means, wealth, status, rituals, or even intellectual achievement, these pursuits often fail to satisfy the deeper longing for contentment and authenticity. This tension between worldly ambition and inner peace is a recurring theme in Praise of Folly, where he critiques society's misplaced priorities and invites readers to reflect on the futility of chasing superficial goals at the expense of true purpose. One of Erasmus's sharpest critiques is directed at the clergy, whom he accuses of prioritizing elaborate rituals and dogmatic practices over genuine spiritual connection. He observes that many religious leaders focus more on appearances and strict adherence to tradition than on fostering meaningful relationships with their faith or their communities. For example, he lampoons those who recite prayers mechanically, believing that the act itself is enough to guarantee divine favor, while neglecting the essence of spirituality: compassion, humility, and understanding. This critique mirrors modern society's tendency to value form over substance, where the performance of virtue often takes precedence over authentic engagement. A contemporary parallel might be found in the rise of performative activism, where individuals or organizations publicly champion social causes not out of genuine concern, but to enhance their reputation. Erasmus's insights challenge us to question whether our actions are rooted in sincerity or simply serve as a facade. The paradox Erasmus highlights extends beyond the realm of religion to encompass all aspects of human life. He argues that people often mistake means for ends, believing that achieving certain goals, be it wealth, fame, or social recognition, will bring lasting happiness. Yet, as Erasmus points out, these pursuits frequently lead to disappointment or a relentless craving for more. This dynamic is evident in today's consumer-driven culture, where the promise of fulfillment through material possessions is constantly reinforced. Consider the phenomenon of retail therapy, where individuals shop to alleviate stress or sadness, only to find that the satisfaction is fleeting. Erasmus's critique reminds us that external acquisitions, no matter how grand, cannot fill the void of a deeper, existential yearning for meaning. Erasmus's perspective aligns closely with the existentialist ideas articulated centuries later by thinkers like Albert Camus. Camus famously described life as inherently meaningless, a condition that humans must confront to live authentically. For Camus, the acknowledgement of life's absurdity is not a cause for despair, but an opportunity for freedom. Similarly, Erasmus's recognition of the futility of worldly pursuits does not lead to nihilism, but to a call for introspection and humility. He suggests that by embracing the limitations and contradictions of life, individuals can move beyond superficial desires and discover a deeper, more enduring sense of purpose. This connection between Erasmus's ideas and existentialist philosophy is particularly striking when considering the concept of freedom. Both Erasmus and existentialists like Camus argue that true freedom arises not from the absence of constraints, but from the ability to find meaning within them. Erasmus's critique of worldly ambition can be seen as an invitation to liberate ourselves from the tyranny of societal expectations and to focus instead on cultivating inner peace. This perspective is profoundly relevant in the modern age, where individuals are often overwhelmed by external pressures to succeed, conform, or accumulate. The relentless pursuit of these goals can leave little room for self-reflection, leading to a sense of disconnection and dissatisfaction. Erasmus's critique also challenges us to reconsider what it means to live authentically. He suggests that authenticity is not about adhering to societal standards or achieving visible success, but about aligning one's actions with one's true values and aspirations. This idea resonates in today's world, where many people struggle to reconcile their personal desires with the demands of their environment. For example, the pressure to maintain a polished online persona can conflict with the desire for genuine self-expression. Similarly, the pursuit of career advancement often comes at the expense of personal relationships or well-being. Erasmus's insights encourage us to reflect on whether our choices truly serve our deeper purpose or simply perpetuate a cycle of superficial validation. The existential angle of Erasmus's work also speaks to the human capacity for self-deception. He observes that people often construct elaborate narratives to justify their actions, convincing themselves that they are pursuing noble goals even when their motives are driven by vanity or fear. This tendency to rationalize is evident in countless aspects of modern life, from the pursuit of luxury goods under the guise of rewarding oneself to the embrace of workaholism as a marker of dedication and success. Erasmus's satire exposes these justifications as forms of folly, prompting us to question whether we are truly honest with ourselves about our motivations. By framing life as a paradox, Erasmus invites us to embrace the contradictions that define the human experience. He does not offer easy answers or prescriptive solutions, but encourages a mindset of humility and curiosity. This approach is particularly valuable in a world that often prioritizes certainty and control. Erasmus reminds us that the search for meaning is not about finding definitive answers, but about engaging with the questions themselves. His perspective challenges us to move beyond the surface level of our pursuits and to consider the deeper values and aspirations that guide our lives. Reflecting on Erasmus's insights, we are prompted to examine our own follies and whether they align with our deeper sense of purpose. Are our actions driven by a genuine desire to grow and connect? Or are they merely attempts to conform to societal expectations? By confronting these questions, we can begin to navigate the complexities of existence with greater clarity and intention. Erasmus's work serves as a timeless reminder that the search for meaning is not a destination but a journey, one that requires us to embrace our imperfections and contradictions with humor, humility, and a willingness to learn. Erasmus's observations about the paradox of choice offer a critical insight into human behavior, highlighting how the abundance of options, rather than liberating individuals, often deepens their dissatisfaction. This dynamic, rooted in the tension between desire and fulfillment, provides a natural connection to his broader reflections on the search for meaning and purpose. If people are overwhelmed by choices in their pursuit of happiness, it raises a deeper question about whether those pursuits are aligned with their authentic needs or merely driven by societal expectations. This connection becomes evident when considering how Erasmus critiques those who endlessly seek external validation through wealth, status, or material possessions. These pursuits, while seemingly rational, often mask an inner void, a lack of true purpose. Modern parallels abound in the consumer culture of today, where people chase the latest gadgets, fashion trends, or career milestones, believing these will bring them closer to fulfillment. Yet, as Erasmus suggests, such pursuits often exacerbate the problem by adding layers of complexity to an already fragile sense of self. His work invites us to reflect not only on the choices we make, but also on the motivations behind them, bridging the gap between the external distractions of choice and the internal quest for meaning. This transition from choice to purpose naturally leads to the existential questions that underpin Erasmus's critiques. He doesn't simply expose the folly of pursuing more for the sake of more. He challenges us to confront why we seek these things in the first place. This philosophical inquiry ties seamlessly into the existentialist ideas of thinkers like Camus, who argue that life's inherent meaninglessness can either lead to despair or inspire freedom. For Erasmus, as for Camus, the recognition of absurdity is not a dead end but an opportunity to reshape our priorities, embracing life's limitations and contradictions with clarity and humility. The interplay between the paradox of choice and the search for meaning also feeds into Erasmus's exploration of folly as an intrinsic aspect of human nature. By acknowledging that folly is not merely a flaw but a fundamental part of existence, Erasmus sets the stage for a deeper understanding of freedom. Freedom, in his view, is not about eliminating folly or overcoming limitations, but about learning to navigate them with wisdom and grace. This perspective creates a powerful link to his critiques of societal norms, religious rituals, and human arrogance, all of which stem from the same tendency to misplace priorities in the pursuit of fulfillment. In this way, Erasmus's insights weave together a cohesive philosophical framework that examines the tension between external choices and internal purpose. The abundance of options, while seemingly a symbol of progress, often obscures the deeper existential questions of why we seek and what we value. These questions, left unexamined, lead to the same cycles of dissatisfaction and folly that Erasmus so vividly critiques. Recognizing this interplay allows his reflections on choice to seamlessly transition into broader considerations of meaning, purpose, and the human condition, tying all aspects of his philosophy into a unified narrative. Erasmus's reflections on human folly and the absurdity of existence offer a profound lesson. Life's contradictions are not errors to be fixed but truths to be embraced. And in Praise of Folly, he presents absurdity not as a cause for despair, but as a fundamental aspect of the human condition, one that can lead to greater understanding and even joy if approached with humor and humility. His satirical critiques of society, religion, and human behavior illuminate this philosophy, showing how recognizing our own limitations and contradictions can liberate us from the relentless pursuit of perfection and control. Erasmus's light-hearted approach to life's absurdity is exemplified in his playful critique of societal norms. He mocks the arrogance of scholars who amass knowledge for prestige rather than enlightenment, rulers who wage wars under the guise of honor, and clergy who obsess over rituals while neglecting the essence of faith. These contradictions, Erasmus suggests, are not anomalies but reflections of the folly inherent in humanity. By using humor to expose these flaws, he encourages his audience to confront their own absurdities without succumbing to guilt or despair. His approach reminds us that recognizing life's contradictions is not about fixing them but about finding a way to live authentically within them. This philosophy holds particular relevance in the modern world, where uncertainty and complexity are constants. The fast pace of contemporary life, coupled with the pressure to succeed and conform, often leaves people feeling overwhelmed and disconnected. Erasmus's insights can provide a valuable framework for navigating this chaos. Instead of striving for impossible ideals or clinging to rigid certainties, his philosophy encourages us to accept life's unpredictability and imperfections as natural and inevitable. For example, consider the modern obsession with self-optimization, where individuals are constantly bombarded with advice on how to be more productive, successful, or fulfilled. While these pursuits can be beneficial, they often lead to burnout and a sense of inadequacy when the promised results fail to materialize. Erasmus's perspective invites us to approach these efforts with a sense of humor and perspective, recognizing that imperfection is not failure but a defining feature of being human. The value of humor in confronting life's absurdity is one of Erasmus's most enduring lessons. Laughter, he implies, is a powerful antidote to the seriousness with which we often approach our lives and problems. This doesn't mean trivializing genuine challenges, but rather adopting a mindset that allows us to see beyond our immediate struggles and appreciate the broader picture. For instance, in today's workplace culture, where stress and pressure are often celebrated as signs of dedication, humor can serve as a vital tool for maintaining balance and perspective. A lighthearted approach to minor setbacks or challenges can diffuse tension, foster creativity, and build resilience. Erasmus's work encourages us to see humor not as a distraction, but as a means of embracing the absurdity of life in a way that enriches our experience. Humility is another cornerstone of Erasmus's philosophy, and it is deeply intertwined with his views on absurdity. By acknowledging our limitations and the inherent contradictions in our lives, we can approach the world with greater empathy and openness. In a time where perfectionism and self-promotion are often glorified, humility offers a counterbalance that fosters connection and understanding. Social media, for instance, thrives on the curation of idealized versions of life, where imperfections are often hidden or minimized. Erasmus's insights challenge this tendency by reminding us that embracing our flaws and contradictions can be more liberating than striving for an unattainable ideal. Humility allows us to connect more authentically with ourselves and others, creating space for genuine relationships and shared experiences. Erasmus's emphasis on embracing absurdity also provides a way to cope with uncertainty, which is a defining feature of modern life. From economic instability to global crises, uncertainty can be a source of anxiety and paralysis. Erasmus's perspective, however, suggests that uncertainty is not something to be feared, but something to be accepted as an integral part of existence. By letting go of the need for absolute control or certainty, we can focus on what is within our power to influence and find meaning in the present moment. This mindset is particularly valuable in addressing the challenges of a fast-paced, chaotic world, where the quest for stability can often feel futile. Erasmus's legacy teaches us that instead of fighting against the chaos, we can learn to navigate it with grace and adaptability. His philosophy also resonates in the context of personal growth and self-discovery. The acknowledgement of life's absurdity and the acceptance of our own limitations can free us from the fear of failure and the pressure to conform to societal expectations. This idea is especially relevant for those facing major life transitions, such as changing careers, pursuing creative endeavors, or navigating relationships. Erasmus's approach encourages individuals to view these experiences not as tests of their worth, but as opportunities to embrace the unpredictability of life and discover new possibilities. By shifting the focus from outcomes to the process itself, we can cultivate a sense of curiosity and openness that allows for deeper engagement with the world. Erasmus's lighthearted critique of life's contradictions also offers guidance for addressing societal challenges. In a world often divided by ideological conflicts and rigid certainties, his emphasis on humor, humility, and acceptance can serve as a model for fostering dialogue and understanding. Instead of viewing differences as threats, Erasmus's philosophy encourages us to see them as opportunities for learning and growth. This perspective can be particularly useful in addressing complex issues like climate change, social inequality, or political polarization, where the search for definitive solutions can sometimes obscure the need for collaboration and compromise. By approaching these challenges with a mindset that embraces complexity and acknowledges our shared humanity, we can create space for more constructive and inclusive conversations. Erasmus's legacy is ultimately one of resilience and perspective. His philosophy teaches us to approach life's absurdities not as obstacles to be overcome, but as inherent features of the human experience. By embracing humor, humility, and adaptability, we can navigate the uncertainties and contradictions of existence with greater ease and fulfillment. This perspective doesn't deny the difficulties of life, but rather offers a way to engage with them more thoughtfully and compassionately, finding meaning and joy even in the face of chaos. The enduring relevance of Erasmus's insights lies in their ability to illuminate the paths we can take to live authentically and meaningfully, even amidst life's inevitable absurdities. Erasmus's philosophy leaves us with a strikingly simple yet profound reflection. If life is absurd, why not laugh at its absurdity? This sentiment encapsulates the essence of his worldview, where folly is not something to be eradicated or hidden, but something to be acknowledged as an intrinsic part of what it means to be human. In Praise of Folly, Erasmus doesn't shy away from exposing the contradictions and absurdities of life. Instead, he approaches them with humor and humility, inviting his audience to do the same. His perspective challenges us to reconsider our own approach to life's imperfections and to find strength, not in denying our flaws, but in embracing them. This approach to absurdity is particularly relevant in a world where people are often burdened by the pressure to achieve, conform, or present a flawless image to others. Social media, for example, thrives on curated portrayals of perfection, where individuals strive to showcase their best selves while concealing their struggles and vulnerabilities. Yet, as Erasmus might argue, it is precisely in these moments of imperfection and contradiction that our humanity is most visible. Laughing at our own missteps or recognizing the humor in our failures is not a sign of weakness but a testament to our resilience and adaptability. It allows us to approach life with a lighter heart and a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. Erasmus's insistence on the value of folly as a shared human trait serves as a powerful reminder of our interconnectedness. The acknowledgement of folly is not merely an act of self-awareness, but also an invitation to empathy. When we recognize that everyone is grappling with their own contradictions and absurdities, we can approach others with greater compassion. This perspective is especially valuable in navigating conflict or misunderstanding, whether in personal relationships or broader societal interactions. For instance, in moments of disagreement, remembering that everyone is susceptible to folly can help to escalate tension and create space for dialogue. Erasmus's humor becomes a tool for bridging divides, reminding us that our shared humanity outweighs our differences. The idea of embracing folly also challenges us to confront the rigid standards we impose on ourselves and others. Modern culture often equates success with flawlessness and views vulnerability as a liability. Yet, Erasmus suggests that it is precisely through our vulnerabilities and contradictions that we can find strength and authenticity. Consider the pressure many people face in their careers to project confidence and competence at all times. Acknowledging mistakes or admitting uncertainty can feel risky in such environments. Yet it is often these acts of honesty that foster trust and collaboration. By embracing the absurdity of our limitations, we can create a more inclusive and supportive space for ourselves and those around us. Erasmus's perspective on the absurdity of life also invites us to question our priorities and assumptions. In a society that prizes efficiency, productivity, and rationality, it is easy to dismiss activities or pursuits that seem frivolous or unproductive. Yet, Erasmus reminds us that joy, playfulness, and spontaneity are essential aspects of the human experience. These moments of folly, whether it's a spontaneous dance, a silly joke, or an unexpected detour, can provide a sense of freedom and connection that structured pursuits often cannot. They remind us that life is not merely a series of tasks to be completed but a journey to be experienced in all its messiness and unpredictability. The recognition of folly also provides a valuable framework for personal reflection. Erasmus's philosophy challenges us to examine our own contradictions and consider what truths might be hidden within them. For example, a person who constantly seeks approval from others might reflect on whether this behavior stems from a deeper desire for connection or a fear of rejection. Similarly, someone who avoids risk might ask whether their caution is rooted in genuine prudence or an unwillingness to embrace uncertainty. By exploring these questions, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and uncover opportunities for growth and transformation. Erasmus's approach to the absurdity of life also holds lessons for how we engage with the broader challenges of existence. In a world marked by uncertainty and complexity, it is tempting to seek absolute answers or cling to rigid ideologies. Yet, Erasmus's perspective encourages us to embrace the fluidity of life and remain open to change. This mindset is particularly valuable in addressing global challenges like climate change, inequality, or political polarization, where the search for perfect solutions can sometimes obscure the need for incremental progress and collaboration. By accepting the imperfect and often contradictory nature of these efforts, we can approach them with greater patience, creativity, and determination. One of Erasmus's most enduring insights is that folly is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced as a natural and necessary part of life. This recognition does not mean resigning ourselves to mediocrity or ignoring our flaws, but rather learning to engage with them in a way that fosters growth, understanding, and connection. It is an invitation to approach life with curiosity and humility, to laugh at our own absurdities, and to find joy in the unpredictable journey of existence. Erasmus's philosophy also challenges us to extend this mindset beyond ourselves, inviting us to reflect on how we perceive and judge others. In a world that often prioritizes competition over cooperation, the ability to recognize and celebrate the shared absurdity of the human experience can be a powerful force for building community and fostering mutual respect. It encourages us to let go of the need to appear superior or infallible and instead focus on the ways in which our imperfections connect us. This shift in perspective can transform how we approach relationships, both personal and collective, creating a culture that values authenticity and compassion over perfection and control. Erasmus's legacy is a call to action, inviting each of us to examine our own lives and confront the contradictions and absurdities that shape them. What truths lie hidden in your own folly? What might you discover if you stopped striving for perfection and started embracing the messy, unpredictable beauty of life as it is? These questions are not meant to be answered definitively, but to serve as a starting point for deeper reflection and engagement with the world around us. Through humor, humility, and a willingness to explore our own absurdities, we can find a path forward that is both authentic and liberating, grounded in the shared humanity that Erasmus so brilliantly celebrated. And so, here we are, at the end of our exploration of Erasmus and the absurdity of life. If there's one thing we've learned, it's this: life doesn't need to make perfect sense for it to be meaningful. In fact, it's the contradictions, the imperfections, and yes, even the outright absurdities that give life its richness and depth. Erasmus reminds us to laugh at our flaws, embrace our shared humanity, and find joy in the unpredictable chaos of existence. Now it's your turn. What truths might be hiding in your own moments of folly? What would happen if you stopped striving for perfection and started leaning into the beauty of imperfection? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your reflections on this. And before you go, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if it resonated with you. Share it with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to laugh at life's absurdities. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into philosophy, history, and the human experience. If you want to go the extra mile and support this work, consider donating through YouTube Super. Thanks, it's a fantastic way to keep this content going and help us grow. Thank you for spending your time here today. Stay curious, stay thoughtful, and remember, life's too absurd not to laugh. See you in the next video.